we back. Like we never left. You are listening to Dynamics on the Hardwood here with Mazzi and LiveZone. We've been waiting for this all year. We are back here with the NBA Finals. Mazzi, how you feeling about it? Let me know.
Celtics back in the finals, rightfully so. I don't want to hear a damn thing about how easy it was to get here. They still had to make it to the finals. I don't give a rat's ass. I know it was cheap. Dallas Mavericks, on the other hand, I think I'm one of the only people that has been riding with Luka and thought Dallas would be in this position at the end of the year. Here they are, rightfully so. I still dislike Kyrie Irving from the bottom of my heart. I hope you go 0 for 30 in the series and don't make a single basket. I know that won't happen, but it is what it is. You did the Celtics dirty, and you know it, and you do a lot of people dirty, and you know it. But I don't know you personally, but whatever. Anyways, I love your teammate Luka Doncic. He's a dog. He's the man. The way he just played in the final game against these Minnesota Timberwolves, crazy. Chirping the crowd the whole time. I'm excited is the bottom line for this. I think it's going to be a lot closer than anything we've seen. I hope. I mean, every team the Celtics play ends up getting hurt, and it ends up being it doesn't even make it to a game 6. So here we are. Live Zone. What are you thinking? What do we got? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling wicked good about this series, not even just as a Boston Celtics fan, but as an NBA fan. I think we are seeing the modern day Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James matchup that we wanted to see in the early 2000s. I think we got the two best players and two best superstars going against one another in this year's NBA Finals. I'm excited about it. My Celtics are in it. You know who I'm rooting for. But, at the end of the day, I'm happy either way because we have a new NBA champion instead of seeing a dynasty unfold.
Absolutely. We got questions. We got things to say. We got things to ask. Finish the phrase is what we're rocking with this week. I got a couple of questions. Live Zone's got a couple of questions for me. I'm gonna start it out here. We're gonna start off with a little fill in the blank. I got if Luka can average 30 points a game in this finals blank.
I think they still have a tough time going against the Boston Celtics, but I do think that they end up winning 2 games at home in Dallas. Dallas is a hard place to play all year, and they're most likely going to get 1 or 2 games if Luka can average 30 points a game.
Got you. Moving on, we got Jaylen Brown needs to be what for the Celtics to win a championship?
Superstar. He needs to be the clutch superstar that he was being last series against the Indiana Pacers. He needs to show up, especially against this Dallas Mavericks team.
All right, we got the Celtics win the championship. The Celtics winning the championship means what?
Back on top. That's the name of the game right now. Banner 18 means that you're the only team that has 18 banners in your stadium or court or whatever you want to call it. And that shows that you are the most important NBA franchise in NBA history. So it means everything to the NBA and it means everything to the Boston Celtics.
And follow that up with the Dallas Mavericks winning the championship
Means you have the best NBA player on your team, the most valuable player in the NBA is on the most valuable team in the NBA, and that's Luka. And I think that will benefit in a scrappy Dallas Mavericks team. All right, so now we're going to head over to my questions for you, Mazzi. And I'm going to start it off with this. Kristaps will be back in game
3.
Oh, okay. So you don't think he's coming back game one?
No, no. I just think they're gonna ride with what's
All
going right now. I don't think. I don't know if they need a spark. I think they bring him in, but I don't know if they game one. They're definitely feeling it out as both teams should. As for Boston, it's more of is what they have right now without Kristaps still going to work against this team, which I don't think it will. And then if it doesn't, and they need that spark in the next game. Maybe game two. I think they might run with it in 2 games, see if it's really a win. Because I think they might get one the first game and then see how it goes second game, lose that game, and then bring him back in for game three, get them riled up and ready to go, and an extra punch that Dallas might not be ready for, but Lively down low is a menace, even though he is a rookie and he has a Cinderella story this year. Shout out to him losing his mom and everything like that, playing for his mom. So do root for him. But end of the day, I want the Celtics. To answer your question, game 3.
right. All right. Jaylen Brown will average blank points in the NBA Finals.
I don't think it's going to come down to him personally. I think Tatum really needs to take over. And like I said, I think we'll end up seeing Kristaps, so some of the load will be off of Jaylen. I do not trust in Jaylen Brown, but if I had to answer the question, it's 24.
All right. All right. I like that number. I think that number is beneficial where he should be, honestly. I agree with that. 25 points is where I would expect him to be as well.
Yeah.
And then my last question for you. The finals MVP will go to blank, but should really go to blank.
I I got a hot take, a very hot take. I think Finals MVP should go to Luka because
Oh.
I'll finish that because later. But I think that Finals MVP should go to Luka, and I think should rightfully go to Luka. I don't think there's a reason why it shouldn't go to Luka. At the end of the day,
Even so you have the Mavericks beating the Celtics.
we don't know yet. We don't know yet. We're gonna have to find out. We're gonna have to find out.
All right. So if it is the Celtics that end up winning the NBA Finals, your Finals MVP goes to who?
If the Celtics win the NBA Finals, my MVP would go to Al Horford.
All right, all right,
But I think it'll go to Tatum,
okay,
which I
all
don't
right.
think is right.
Well, yeah, I don't think so either. But we shall see. We have a huge NBA Finals coming to us. Once again, I'm putting it out there that this is the two best superstars in the NBA going against one another in the NBA Finals. The same way that we wanted to see Kobe going against LeBron is what we're seeing with Tatum and Luka right now. It's going to be an amazing finals. Expect it to go 6-7 games either way. But for me, you know who I'm rooting for. I don't know about you, Mazzi, but I'm sticking with my team.
Well, the thing is, this series is a lot closer of a matchup than people think. I mean, you got Luca for Tatum, you got Kyrie for Brown, you got Lively for whoever's down low, whether it's Horford or Porzingis. You got Washington shooting the three in the clutch moments and being able to lock down defensively on people like a Derek White. I mean, you got it's gonna come down to benches end of the day, and whose stars are putting up more points. If Kyrie and Luka are doing 36 and 36 like they did to close out the Timberwolves, that putting up 72 points between the two of them, it's going to be tough for Boston to keep up with that because Jaylen Brown and Tatum aren't really dropping 36 and 36 like that. Kyrie and Luka have done it 3 times now. I think maybe even 4 times now. So, Jaylen Brown, one night Tatum has 40, but Brown only has 12. It's like it balances itself out. So the Celtics versus the Mavericks is the matchup. Live Zone. Who are some key players that you have to watch out for in this series for you?
So the people that I'm looking at is actually some of the, key players around that are starting, but they're not actually the stars of the team. I'm looking at Derek White and Drew Holiday for the Boston Celtics. I think Drew Holiday really needs to put up a defensive um, monster this series because of what he did in Indiana. The reason why that they won games is because of Drew Holiday's defense to begin with, right? So that's what I'm looking for in Drew Holiday. With Derek White, I can't watch him throw up some bad shots and get 15 points and, call it a day. No, I need to see Derek White efficiency go better than what he was doing. I really need to see him hit his shots and not make a dumb shot selection here and there in the game. So those are the key players for the Celtics. For the Dallas Mavericks, I'm looking at Derek Jones Jr. and I'm looking at Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford really needs to put up a monster game on the reboards for the Dallas Mavericks because if it's not going to be him, it's not going to be anybody else, and the Celtics are going to eat them alive on the rebounds, which will hurt them in the series. Now, with Derek Jones Jr., I need to see him get more than 5 points if the Dallas Mavericks want to do any damage against the Boston Celtics. A starter should not be just having 5 points in a game. He should at least be having 8 to 10. So Derek Jones Jr. needs to step it up on the point side. Those are the 4 players that I'm looking at for key players on both sides.
Dallas side, great. Understood on your Derek Jones Jr. Luka and Kyrie are going to be there. On the Boston side, I think it's a swing and a miss on that one, brother. I think we need to call out Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This is the moment that it means everything. It's for all the marbles. Fuck all the Eastern Conference finals that you've made. Screw the NBA finals that you lost in. This is the time to win the championship. If you don't, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's a very large letdown after an easy finals run. Now you're up against a team that you should easily beat by all stats and numbers and analytics and whatnot. Tatum and Brown need to show up and put up as much points and go tit for tat with Kyrie and Luka the whole series. I need the Jason Tatum that's going downhill and finishing and getting a bucket, not getting a foul. I need you to play through and make the shot. Jaylen Brown, I need you to not go to your left hand and turn it over. I need you to stick with what you know. Hit your pull-ups, hit your threes. Don't try to dance down and drive in. That's when you turn it over most of the time. Leave that for Tatum. Let your bench and role players do their thing. Horford and White, if they continue to show up as well. If Kristaps Porzingis is there, it's just added. If Tatum and Brown don't show up and continue to not both show up at these big times, and only one of them, it's never going to happen. And this is a time. I can't stress that enough for the Celtics.
I agree 110% with the Jalen part. I think Tatum, the only way that he's not going to show up is if he gets injured again, which, knock on wood, hopefully that does not happen. But I think that Jason Tatum is not really the problem here. I think the problem is the pieces surrounding Jason
But he
Tatum.
is. But he is. Because of the way Jason Tatum's game is so smooth and like free flowing that it gets to the point where it seems like there's no leadership from him. There's no energy from him. He doesn't rally the troops in the big moments, things of that nature. And that's what I need from Jason Tatum right now. I need him to be able to do that. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about leadership, I 110% agree. I think when it comes down to it, the only leadership that we have in this NBA Finals is Kyrie. To be honest with you, on the Dallas Mavericks, because he's won an NBA Finals before, he knows what it takes. I think that when it comes to Luka, Tatum, and Brown, yeah, they really need to show their leadership. But when it comes to scoring and when it comes to turning the ball over and everything, the only really person that I'm worried about on the Boston Celtics is Jaylen Brown when it comes to that. I really don't think that Tatum needs to worry about the scoring part because he's going to score 25 to 30 either way, right? So I think as long as you can handle the turnovers from Jaylen Brown and as long as you can the people surrounding you are not making dumb shot selections like a floater in front of three people like Derek White did a few days ago, I think that this series is going to be great. But I can 110% agree with you when it comes to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum needs to show his leadership, and that's what we need to see out of Jason Tatum in this series. I 1010% agree with that. But that you could say the same thing about Luka. To be honest, we really are about to see who's a real leader in this NBA and who's not. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I agree with that a little bit, but I disagree because Luka wasn't nobody. The Celtics have been a lock for this position to be in this position since pretty much day one of the season. Okay? Realistically, halfway through the year, everybody knew the Celtics needed to make it to the finals, regardless. The Dallas Mavericks, on the other hand, Eastern Conference Finals was probably the goal for that team. Goal playoffs time. Well, obviously everybody's goal is NBA Finals, but I'm saying a realistically good turnout in the playoffs was an Eastern Conference Finals or a Finals run. They're in the Finals run right now, which is best case scenario for them. So I don't think the pressure's on Luka to be that guy because that system runs so well as the two-person system of Kyrie and him. Luka needs to come in and do what he does, slow the game down and involve everybody and make some passes. Kyrie comes in, cultivates everybody, brings his veteran leadership, knowledge of that, and then goes and gets you buckets. That's what they're built on. The Celtics have nobody. They got Al Horford in the locker room, and he needs to rally the troops. But Jason Tatum's the person who should be stepping up and doing it by now.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you, but I do want to mention as well that this NBA Finals we're seeing the Batman and Robins that didn't work go against each other. Kyrie and Tatum did not work out the way that we wanted it to in Boston, and now Luka and Kyrie are working out, and same thing with Luka and Kristaps. Luka and Kristaps didn't work out, and now we're seeing Jason Tatum and Kristaps work out a lot better than what Luka and Kristaps were. So it's going to be an interesting finals. The other thing that I wanted to mention as well was that when it comes to Jason Tatum and everything like that, we need to see not just a leader, but a true Boston leader. And if you're not from Boston, I don't think you're going to really understand what we're talking about. But if you look at Kevin Garnett in the 2008 NBA Finals, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You just
Big
need to bring.
Poppy in 2004.
Yep, Big Poppy in 2004 is another one. Tom Brady in the Super Bowls is another one that you could go to. But we need to see that out of Jason Tatum. We need to see you become the guy in a Boston Celtics uniform instead of being like, oh, but somebody else would do this better. No, we need to see the best Jason Tatum out there in this series, and I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I want to see the Boston Celtics back on top. As a Boston Celtics fan, I know people are going to say that's bias and how they had an easy run to the NBA Finals and everything, but at the end of the day, they're a 64 win team, right? So they gotta at least get to the NBA Finals, or it's a bust of a year for them, right? Well, now we're looking at it as, all right. You and Jaylen Brown have been here before. This is your guys' time to show up, and it's time to go against the person that honestly a lot of Boston fans hate the most. So you really need to step up in this NBA Finals.
Absolutely, it's going to come down to it. Who shows up, who doesn't show up. That's what it always comes down to. Looking forward, we do have a coaching battle going on. Joe Mazzulla, Jason Kidd for the Mavericks. LiveZone, what do you see going down here? What are things to look out for? How you feeling about this? Some good coaching matchup, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good coaching matchup. I think that, they're kind of neck and neck with each other in coaching this year. But when it comes to all time, they both made very bad decisions in the past. And that has been a very bad thing for not just Jason Kidd, but also Missoula. I mean, looking at the playoffs last year, made some bad decisions with Missoula as the coach. A lot of challenge calls that was not called that should have been, a lot of timeouts that you didn't use. Missoula's learning, right? This is his second, third year being a coach. In the head coach position of the Boston Celtics. So I mean, we're gonna find out if he's learned anything or not. Where he is at now. 64 wins in a season. You would think that he would learn a lot more than his first year. But at the same time with Jason Kidd, I mean, you gotta look at Jason Kidd and be like, listen, if you don't get this done, it is wraps for you. Look at the players that you have coached. I mean, you have coached the likes of Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka, Kyrie Irving now, right? Like the list goes on and on. You could go as far back as Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and them, right? So like you have coached these guys, but you have not gotten anybody to the promised land yet. So looking at this, Jason Kidd, he really needs to step up his game on the coaching side, and it's going to be a fun matchup for the coaches. I don't think that the coaching is going to dictate the winner, though, because I do think that the Celtics are going to win, but I do think that Jason Kidd is going to have the better coaching game plan. But it's just something to look at.
Spicy, spicy, spicy. So, we maybe heard you say it, but let's move on to who we have winning the series and in how many games. Live Zone, I want you to go ahead and start us off with who do you have and in how many games winning the NBA Finals this year.
I'm looking at it, and I think it could go either way. I think, like I said, I think we have the two best superstars going against each other in the NBA Finals, something that we have never, well, I don't want to say never seen, because we did see it in the 80s with Bird and Magic, but other than that, you really haven't seen the two best stars go at each other in an NBA Finals like this. We've missed it with Kobe and Jordan because they were too far apart. You missed it with Kobe and LeBron because Dwight Howard ended up beating LeBron. So we're kind of back in a position where it's like we got the best of the best going against the best of the best. I'm gonna take the Boston Celtics. I'm gonna take it in 7 games. I think Kristaps is coming back in game 2, so I think that's going to benefit the Boston Celtics. And I don't see the Celtics losing unless Tatum gets hurt.
So, I've been on the fence about this one, back and forth. Thinking about it, since the Mavericks went up 3-0 in the series and the Celtics had clinched, nobody ever coming back from 3-0 in the NBA playoffs. I started immediately thinking about the scenario with Dallas versus the Celtics. They match up well. The coaches are about the same level. Head office, you got Brad Stevens over there, but you also got Mark Cuban on the Dallas Mavericks side. So, very structurally evenly built teams, very evenly matched up. I think Dallas is on a hotter streak than the Celtics, if I do say so myself. I think they're putting up more playing more of a collective team effort. I know Celtics are winning some close, clutch games, but they're against hobbled teams. They're going to be going up against a full staff team with their superstars rolling, ready to go. Now, the Celtics always seem to play to their opponent's level, whatever that may be, whether it's great, bad, in the middle, or whatever. That doesn't bode well for the team. That's worrisome to me. You know, for Dallas, it comes down to Luka and Kyrie. If they're off, they lose. If they're on, they win. That's pretty much how it goes. You know,
Okay.
I'm gonna go with on here the Celtics winning the NBA championship in 6 games. Betting wise, I'm going to bet the Dallas Mavericks. That's for all my people in Boston. I do that because I love you. Because if I bet on the Mavericks to win, the other team will eventually win. So you're welcome ahead of time, as always. You're welcome for spending my money to get a championship. It's just what I do. Okay, it's just what I'm here for. So Celtics in 6 over the Mavericks. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. All right. I mean, I'm with you. I have the Celtics winning as well. I do think that the Mavericks can squeak it out, but I don't think that they will. Either way, one of the two best stars in the NBA is going to get their first championship, and it looks like, you know, that thing that we were talking about a few weeks ago, where we're heading into a new era, is actually happening. With the NBA Finals, though, if you are going to bet, I recommend betting on stat lines instead of game lines, because the stat lines are more likely to hit than a game line. Just don't go 6 legs like I do. Go like 3 or 4, and I promise you that you will most likely win. But, you know, looking at the Dallas Mavericks today, you know, Gafford hit, Luca hit, Kyrie, I'm sure, hit. You know, Celtics, I'm sure Al Horford's defensive stats hit, and Drew Holiday's defensive stats with Tatum and Brown's points. So just keep an eye on it. Make sure you're betting smart and don't lose money.
Don't lose money like me.
But with that being
Not
said,
funny.
but with that being said, that has been all for this Dynamics on the Hardwood. We got the NBA Finals coming. Make sure you stay tuned. We got a lot going to you.